I didn't set out to overhear anything that night. But fate has a cruel way of dropping you right into the middle of truths you wish you'd never known. It was late, just brushing midnight. I had come home after a quick grocery run, arms full of budget wine and microwave dinners, the kind of meal that quietly sums up a fading marriage. As I stepped through the door, I caught her voice, low, edged with bitterness. I can't stand being with him, Liz. I feel stuck. He's just there, like a shadow I can't escape. I froze. My lungs stopped halfway through a breath. Those words pierced me like glass to the chest. I wasn't meant to hear them, but I did. And just like that, it all became clear. Marriage is strange. It starts with sparks, midnight laughter, and silly private jokes. Then it turns into to-do lists, quiet drives, and pretending not to notice how they shift away from you in bed. I met Emily when we were both reckless 20-somethings chasing a future we thought we could build. She used to look at me like I was her whole sky. I lived for that gaze, but somewhere along the way, it faded. Or maybe it just decayed. She grew distant. I became dull. I worked, came home, and tried to be everything. But everything wasn't enough anymore. And hearing her say she felt trapped, that was the final crack in the glass. I could have stormed in, demanded answers, pleaded, but I didn't. Instead, I walked upstairs, threw clothes in a bag, and left. No parting words, no scenes. She wanted distance? I gave her miles. I found a cheap motel on the edge of town, the kind that smelled like old smoke and forgotten dreams. Sitting on that stiff bed, staring at peeling wallpaper, I wondered how long she'd felt this way. How long had I been invisible? The next morning, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Calls, messages, voicemails. Emily. Where are you? We need to talk. Please come home. It was almost laughable. The same woman who said she hated being near me suddenly cared that I wasn't around. I let her sit with that feeling. Let her feel the emptiness I'd known for years. 2 days later, she knocked on my motel door. When I opened it, she looked broken. Dark circles, messy hair, trembling lips. "Why did you leave?" she asked softly. I let out a bitter laugh. "You really want me to explain it?" She looked down. "You weren't supposed to hear that." So that was her concern. Not that she had said it, just that I'd been there to hear it. Something inside me shifted. I stepped back and let her in. She walked in but didn't sit. "Was it true?" I asked. She paused. Too long. And that silence said everything. For once, Emily had no quick reply, no way to spin it. She stood there searching for some excuse, anything to make me stay. But I was already gone. Maybe not physically, but in every other way. I had left when those words hit me like a train. "I was upset," she finally whispered, frustrated. "I didn't mean it like that." I shook my head slowly. "You don't say things like that unless they're buried somewhere inside you." Tears filled her eyes. "I love you, but—" I lifted a hand. "Don't. I don't need to hear the but. I know how this story ends." She broke then, started crying, but I didn't comfort her. I had spent years aching, wondering if I was ever enough. And now? Now it was her turn to sit in silence and feel what it's like to be left behind. I never returned. The divorce was rough, but healing wasn't. At some point I realized something. Leaving wasn't the hardest thing. Staying was. Staying where I felt unwanted, remaining in a love that had hollowed out. Emily tried reaching out later, said she wanted to fix things, reignite what we once had. But by then I had found something else. Peace. And eventually, someone who looked at me like I was everything again.